Hello folks, welcome to Pro Trader Strategies Market Commentary for Monday, April the 5th. I'm Eric Wilkinson, and you very well may recognize me as the Wolfman from mainstream media, where I would talk about the economic data, the geopolitical environment, and how those come in to impact the markets with my market analysis. I'm going to do the same thing in these daily market commentaries, but I'm also going to talk about the option strategies I'm implementing into my portfolio based on those assumptions. For you folks, what we've done is streamline that process in order to find the optimal option strategy for any given assumption. Now, we're not just talking about picking an option strategy out of the hat here at Pro Trader Strategies. What we're doing is we look at the underlying and find what's going on around the pricing of that specific underlying options, and then that will ultimately determine what our strategy is. So please check those out at protraderstrategies.com, because my goal is to get you folks to a place where you understand options intuitively, and I think I can do that for you very quickly. All right, so across the pond, remember, well, actually last week we had Friday off. That is Unenjoyment Friday. That's one of the biggest days of the year for economic data, and we got our days of the month, I should say, actually not of the year, but every month we get this data point, and it is very important. So across, we talked about non-farm payroll coming in at 916,000 hires, expected to be 650,000 hires. So knocking that number out of the park, and a revision of last month's number up by about 90,000 as well. So this number really, really surprising as a good number, and probably one of the best numbers we've seen in a very long time. And then we come in and follow that up today with our own ISM, which is the Institute for Supply Management Services PMI. We are a service sector, so this is going to be something that we are going to key in on. And that ISM PMI, Purchasing Managers Index, anything above 50 is expansion. Well, we got 63.7. That is the highest reading we've seen since 1997. So almost, what is that, 25 years almost that we've had these data points. This is the highest reading we've seen since 1997. So really doing well there in the ISM Services PMI. 63.7 again, expected to be 58.3, and we got factory orders coming off just slightly by negative 0.8%, expected to be a negative 0.5. So just a slight miss there, but everybody is going to be clamoring about this ISM PMI number and that Friday's non-farm payroll number. Both of those numbers are the major economic data points we're going to be looking at for the month, and both of those numbers doing very well. With that said, we're seeing a couple markets see some weakness, but that's about it. We got crude oil coming off by about $2, which is good, back into the 50 handle, not quite the mid 50s where I'd like to see it. That's where we'll start really seeing some of that velocity money start to pick up from that extra cash not spent at the pump. And we've got the bonds off by about 10 ticks, not even a half a point at this point, at this time in the day. We've got the Bitcoin moving higher by 265 points. We've got the gold futures up just, albeit slightly, by $3.70. Equities moving higher across the board, with the NASDAQ up 220 points. We've got the VIX. I don't know why that's out of order, but the VIX is moving a little bit higher despite the fact that we're seeing these equities in positive territory here. Usually we see that VIX coming off a little bit, but we're seeing a bit of an uptick in VIX. It could be FOMO, where people are worried about missing out on this move to the upside, and could be buying calls. Now, buying calls does add volatility to the market, folks. It's not always just buying puts. And we've got the VIX moving up a little bit today, as we've got the Dow Jones Industrial Average making a new all-time high here, as you can see, with it up 375 points, leading the charge to the upside. This reopening trade doing very well today as well. We've got the E-mini S&Ps breaking that bit of a topping pattern we were keeping an eye on from Thursday. Not confirmed today, as you can see, again, making new all-time intraday highs here in the E-mini S&Ps, which is important to note there. Moving over to the E-mini S&Ps breakdown, this is the 30-minute candle chart, all upside positive today, right? I mean, this is strong coming into today. Value area highs continue to ratchet to the upside. We are not seeing any weakness coming into this market, especially with the reopening trade. A lot of good news coming out about these vaccines. As a matter of fact, I even heard somewhere where this whole new way to create a vaccine using antibodies, and you're actually getting the antibodies versus a part of that virus or a weakened version of that virus, has proved to be the gold standard in these types of vaccines. They're even looking at this to maybe try and work in a way to eradicate cancers in a very similar way that we're coming up with these vaccines. So very exciting on that front, and I think that that's adding some of this upside move to the equities here. With that said, Apple is a trade that I've had on for a while, folks, and you guys know I've been looking to try and get out of some of these. So with that said, in Apple, I have been able to get out of some of my short puts that I have on there. And let's try and go back further on this, because I just want to make sure that I got the correct pricing for you folks, so making sure that I don't misrepresent this at all. So with that said, I did two separate trades in here, because remember, this was on the cash secured puts type of trade where I was looking to get good strike location or good buying location on these for Apple here. And with that said, I went into the April and I sold the 110 puts in there for $1.79. I'm trying to get out of those 110 puts right now for a dime. It's right around, I think the last I checked it was 11 bid at 13. So I'm about a penny away from that one. But I have gotten out of my April 105 puts that I originally sold for $1.04. I bought those back for 6 cents. So out of the 105 puts in my Apple trade here, still working, and a couple of pennies away on my short 110 puts in Apple as well. So I'm going to pull out of those. If I get a pullback here in Apple, I'll do those cash secured puts, because I'd like to add Apple to my portfolio. But the FANGs are doing very well today. I don't think that's going to be an opportunity to add to a position. Only thing I see here right now is being able to take this trade off in Apple and wait for a bit of a pullback here. That's all I've gotten taken care of so far today. Keeping my eyes out for a couple of other opportunities in the markets, but it's pretty quiet today and not really seeing anything. So I'm going to take this Apple off and go with that for right now. Keeping an eye out for other opportunities to the upside as well. All right, so that's all I got for you guys. Check out the webinar. We are doing it on swing trade. So when we see these setups in the markets, we're going to be showing you how you find the optimal option strategy for that move. All right, so please check those out at protraderstrategies.com. And finally, take a moment to go over our disclaimer at the end here, as we're an educational company. All right, and if you can't take that, take it easy.